So I make malas as a hobby. I bless them, give them out all the times, and I ran out of them because I gave them out so much. But after the move, I started making them again, and I want to show you how to make them. So first of all, I'll get my beads in bulk. I'll get them from China usually. I usually go for the 6mm because 6mm is just more wearable, and I find that most Buddhists actually wear 6mm beads, necklaces, more so than the larger sizes. And I get 0.8mm thread, waxed thread, nylon. It's very strong. Then I'll count out 108 beads. So every mala has 108 beads on them. But I like to mix it up a little bit. I will put 96 wooden beads and 16 stone beads. That way I could break down the beads into sections of 4 and 23. 4, 23, 4, 23 in a rotation. Because 23 to me is an alchemical number of transformation. It's a number of mystery. Some people are scared of it, but 4 is to ground that energy during that transition. I'll take 8 to 9 yards of thread and I'll put it on a used spool so that I can keep it organized and tidy while I bead all the threads. Then I get my thread, and at the end of it, it's a little blunt, so sometimes you'll have trouble getting through the holes of the beads. I'll also have a needle on the side of me to expand any sort of the wooden beads that the holes are a little bit not as broken in as they could be. I'll take the end of the thread and I'll burn it with a lighter and thin it out by burning it and squeezing it, cutting it if I have to, but just making it a bit thinner so it gets through all the holes. And then I go through beading the beads. After beading all the threads, which is sort of the most cumbersome part of the process, I'll double knot the end and make sure the second knot goes behind the first knot. This ensures a tight double knot rather than 2 knots next to each other. And then I will double knot between each one. Now as you double knot, you can kind of hold the bead in place where the knot is happening and just pull, and it'll help you get it tight. The first knot doesn't have to be as tight, but the second knot should go behind the first knot to make a nice tight double knot between each of the beads. Now after relaxingly doing all the knots and getting it all together, I double knot the last bit and then cut off the end of the thread so that I have 2 pieces sticking out. These will go through the guru bead, which is the 109th bead, of course, and it should be a little bigger than the 108. The first string will get through the guru bead easily, but the second string, sometimes it's a kind of a tight fit to fit 2 in there. So I will use some fire wire, which is a very strong, thin wire that I have just for threading. I'll cut off a piece, and because it's so thin, both of these can go through the hole. Then I'll attach the other line of the nylon thread and pull it through. Once both strings are through the guru bead, the leftover thread that you have, I'm gonna wrap around 3 fingers and wrap it tight. Once I have it wrapped, I'll hold that in place on the side. Now I'll take 2 ends and put it through the tassel circle and double knot it, a basic double knot. Make it tight because you don't want any extra wiggle room. You want it to be tight as you can. Get a string of another color. Because I bought a multi-pack, I have different color strings, so I'll take about 1 foot of another string and then I'll loop it like so. And this is a nice way to finish the tassel, where you attach it to the tassel end, go in a little bit, and then I'm going to wrap the string around from the loop. Once I have a good length, I will stick the string through one loop and then pull on the other end until the loop disappears into the knot. Then I'll snip off that back end, pull back to hide that end, snip off the other end, and this should be tight enough to hold it without any glue. That's what's so great about this knot. Once it's together, snip off the loops all at once, and then I cut it down to even it out. And then finally, finished mala. So this is a great thing to do when you're waiting online, when you're waiting outside, instead of smoking cigarettes, something you can do. And every time I'm knotting these double knots, I will be using Tonglen breathwork, where I breathe in the horror of the world and exhale love and light, infusing the necklace with that sort of energy as I go along. And then I just have a bunch of these, and I wear them pretty often. I wear them all the time. And if anyone notices them, I just give it to them. It tends to blow the person's mind, but it's theirs for free, no strings. It is like 2 hours of work and maybe like $3 to $4 in material costs, but when someone receives that, a stranger, it's kind of priceless. And I believe it does have the magic that I'm speaking of. I've heard reports that these necklaces do help people and protect them, because the mala that you make is the most powerful mala in the known universe.